As the weather becomes warmer and we become limited by the amount of layers we can wear, it reminds me of the importance of basics. The most basic piece you can get, the humble t-shirt, can make or break an outfit. But there's so many choices out there, each with different fabrics, construction quality, and a huge variation in pricing. So it can be really tricky to find the right one, but today I'm hopefully going to help. I've bought a cross section of different t-shirts and I'm going to compare them in today's video to try and find the best one. Now this list is by no means exhaustive. I'm just trying to find one that's well fitting and can be worn on its own or as a layering piece. And I've tried to keep the prices pretty reasonable so that each t-shirt is realistically attainable. I haven't got disgustingly cheap, the lowest is around $15, and I haven't gone outrageously expensive either, the highest is around $100. By the way, I don't intend on keeping all of these t-shirts, I'm just trying to find the best ones that I think are worthy of adding to my collection. And also, trigger warning, since I am sending some of these back, not all of them have been washed and ironed. For reference, I'm 5'10", around 140 pounds, and I'm wearing all of these t-shirts in a size small. I'll leave links to all of them down in the description box below if you want to try them out for yourself. It feels natural to start at the lowest price point and work my way up. So I'm starting with a t-shirt that I've had for a number of years now, and it's the Uniqlo Aerism t-shirt, which comes in at £14.90. This is essentially my base reference t-shirt for the whole video because it's affordable, well made, and it fits me pretty well. That's not to say it's perfect though, and we'll get into that. Aerism is Uniqlo's quick dry fabric, which makes this t-shirt really good for summer as it wicks away sweat and controls body odor. However, that does mean that it's a cotton polyester blend, which might put a few people off. It has that slight sheen and stretchiness that comes with polyester blend pieces, but I believe the fit is very similar to their Supima cotton t-shirt, which is 100% cotton, so that would be a good alternative if you don't want a polyester blend. What I like about this t-shirt is of course the affordability, as well as the range of colours. It's a regular cut and fits me okay around the chest and arms, but I've always felt like it could be a bit more fitted. Perhaps an extra small would have suited me better. It's quite long, so I do need to tuck it in at all times, which is fine because I like that look. For accurate sizing, I've measured all of these t-shirts pit to pit and shoulder to hem, and I'll leave that information up in the corner. This one is 20.5 inches pit to pit and 26.5 inches shoulder to hem. One of the major downsides of this t-shirt is the collar. It's really thin and flimsy. I find that it sags down quite a lot, almost giving off a V-neck look, which I hate. And over time, it's gone a bit wrinkly as well. For a cheaper t-shirt though, it actually has a decent thickness and weight to it, and overall the construction is good, and I've worn it a lot over the past few years without any issues. The next one really intrigued me. It's a collaboration t-shirt between Comme des Garçons and Sunspell. It intrigues me because firstly, Sunspell are very highly rated when it comes to basic t-shirts. And by the way, I do have a Sunspell t-shirt later in the video, so it'll be interesting to compare the two. But also, the price on this t-shirt just seemed very reasonable at £35. You can't really get a t-shirt for this cheap from either brand individually, and ordinarily you'd think a collaboration piece would be more pricey, but it isn't. However, the first thing you do notice about this t-shirt is how cheap it feels. It's very, very thin and lightweight, but not in a good way. I'd compare it to a value brand t-shirt you'd pick up from the supermarket. The collar is also way too skinny. It's about half the width of any of the other collars in today's video. I actually hate it. The sizing is very standard around the chest and arms, not too fitted and not too big. The length is way too long for my liking, but I could say that about a lot of t-shirts. I also noticed there's absolutely no Sunspell branding on it anywhere. So without the website telling me, I'd have no idea that this was a collaboration piece. Overall, I'd say this one is no better than the previous Uniqlo one, which is about half the price. So save your money. Next, we're taking a bit of a step up in price, but also quality. This is the Lady Whiteco tubular t-shirt. They come in a pack of 2 for £99, so £49.50 each. These are made in the USA from 6-ounce cotton jersey. Although Lady Whiteco offer a range of things nowadays, they started by just producing t-shirts, so this is their bread and butter really. As I said, this is one of their tubular t-shirts, which I believe is a similar type of construction to loop wheel. And we have some loop wheel t-shirts later in the video, so it'll be interesting to compare the two. From my understanding, tubular knit is basically a more modern and faster version of loop wheel, but feel free to correct me in the comments. So you get that same seamless construction that conforms to your body when wearing it. 6-ounce cotton does feel substantial and quite heavyweight. It has a nice thickness and sturdiness to it. It feels different to regular cotton, but not quite the same as loop wheel. Unfortunately, I find this to be a little bit too big for a size small in my opinion. The sleeves and chest are a little looser than I'd like, so I'm not really feeling the benefits of that tubular design. However, it might well shrink in the wash if it's anything like real loop wheel. The collar is pretty standard, not too loose or tight, and has a decent thickness to it. Overall, it feels like a very good quality piece, but there's nothing really remarkable about it. It's fine, but not my favourite piece in today's video. Next up we have another Made in USA 2-pack of t-shirts, this time from Velen. I believe Velen originated in Cincinnati in the 1930s and supplied the US Army with sportswear, but they went out of business. They were then revived by a California-based company who reproduced garments in the same way as they did in the 30s. And they supply them in these vintage style packs, which are just really charming. These t-shirts are again tubular knit, so no side seams. And thankfully, these fit really nicely around the chest, and believe me, you can feel the difference without those side seams. It's such a free flow moving garment. I can imagine they'd actually be great for playing sports in, and that's probably why the US Army bought these. The sleeves are a tad looser than I'd like, but nothing I'd be too worried about. I also really like the length on this one. It's short enough so that I feel like I don't need to tuck it in, like a lot of the other tees in today's videos. The collar is pretty much on par with the Lady Whiteco tee, nothing to complain about. One worrying thing about this t-shirt though is the texture. It's extremely rough. This might be something that changes after a few washes. However, if it didn't disappear, I could actually imagine this roughness becoming a bit of a problem eventually. Overall though, I'm super impressed with this t-shirt, and coming in a 2-pack makes it really good value. It's the type of t-shirt you could stock up on for sure. Okay, next up, a bit of a spoiler, but this might be my favourite t-shirt in today's video. The Real McCoy's athletic t-shirt. This is from their Joe McCoy line, which is a bit more sporty and casual than their main line, but the same quality. This is a rare loop wheel t-shirt. Loop wheel is only made in 2 factories in the world, one in Germany where Mersby are, and one in Japan where this was made. Right out of the packet, this looks and feels exactly how I wanted the Mersby 215 to fit me. That's not to say I don't like the Mersby 215, but I immediately felt like Kami in the bear when wearing this t-shirt. It's also one of the only t-shirts in today's video that felt like a proper size small. Sleeves are beautifully fitted around the arms without being uncomfortable. They're also a nice length, sitting at the perfect place on the arms. And the chest is also wonderfully fitted without feeling tight. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the tubular design yet again, giving you that contoured effect. The body length is lovely and short as well. I don't feel the need to tuck this t-shirt in at all. I don't mind tucking in my t-shirts. In fact, a lot of the times I prefer it. But sometimes it is nice to go untucked just to give you a more casual look. The material is heavyweight, feeling really thick and substantial. It has a slubby texture to it, which looks great when it catches the light. The collar is the best in today's video. It's sturdy, thick, and well-fitting. Overall, this is a properly structured, old-fashioned feeling t-shirt, which is exactly what they were going for, and they nailed it. Next up is the now legendary Mersby Schwanen 215. Of course, this t-shirt skyrocketed to fame after being featured on the bear. Everyone was in awe of the form-fitting shape and the cropped body length. It really showed how a basic piece could have such an impact on an outfit. Now, I've done an entire video dedicated to this t-shirt, so go watch that if you want a deep dive. But to sum up, I'd say this t-shirt lives up to the hype, mostly. The 8.6 ounce loop wheel cotton is stunning. I'd call it pretty heavyweight. It has such a dense and substantial feeling to it. You just know it's going to last. It also has a really unique appearance and texture, unlike any other t-shirt that I currently own. And as I mentioned earlier, you're also buying into history. This is made in a loop wheel factory, and there's only 2 remaining in the whole world. Small details such as the triangular patch under the armpits for extra mobility make a meaningful difference. One small drawback though, I feel like the collar is a little bit too loose. If it was a tiny bit tighter, it would be perfect. Now, one thing I learned is that if you want to look like Kami in the bear wearing this t-shirt, then you need to temper your expectations. This t-shirt is not as cropped as it was in the TV show, and I learned that they professionally hemmed it to fit his body perfectly. It does shrink slightly after the first wash, but not by much. Also, Jeremy Allen White is pretty hench, and he really fills out the t-shirt, which of course makes it look better. So if you don't have that bodybuilder type physique, you might be disappointed. But these are just external factors, and I'm not taking anything away from the t-shirt itself. This is my go-to t-shirt at the moment. It has such a solid and structured feel to it. It's tubular, giving you that form-fitting comfort. It's heavyweight and well made. It's no doubt going to last you a long time. Next up is something a little bit different. This is the CoolMax Jersey t-shirt from Nanamika. Nanamika are a well-known Japanese brand that focuses a bit more on utility and outdoors, and so it's no surprise that they've come out with this CoolMax tee that is made for warmer weather to keep you cool and dry. But what intrigued me so much is that it's a blend of CoolMax polyester fabric with loop wheel cotton. Two very different fabrics, but in theory something that might give you function with very high quality. Well, one of the good things I can say is that this had by far the coolest packaging out of all the t-shirts in today's video. It's a real moment when you receive and open it. The bad news is I simply hated the t-shirt. Firstly, the fabric is just really strange. It's almost like cheesecloth because of its open weave structure, which is probably how it keeps you cool, to be fair, but it also makes it very see-through, and you can clearly see the printed neck label at the back. It's also extremely stretchy, but not in a good way. It reminds me of that stretchy mattress cover that you put under your bed sheets, if that makes any sense. It's a loose kind of stretch, there's no bounce back. This means that it doesn't feel structured at all, and when you're wearing it, it feels like it's falling off you. This results in a terrible looking fit whereby the sleeves are too long and too loose. To be fair, they do describe it as a drop shoulder design, but that only really works with oversized pieces in my opinion, not regular fitting pieces like this. Also, side note, but the tag is in such a weird place. It's on the shoulder. I know this can be removed, but I generally don't like removing tags, so this one's a bit annoying. Overall, this feels like more of an undergarment, and maybe that's what it's supposed to be. But to be honest, if I was buying an undergarment, I'd want to be paying way less than this, which is one of the most expensive tees in today's video. Last up in today's video, the Sunspell Classic Crew Neck t-shirt. This one is seriously highly rated and has a price tag to match. Sunspell claim to have made one of the first ever t-shirts over 100 years ago, which is a crazy claim, but I have no evidence to dispute it. And I believe this t-shirt is one of the only things they still make in England. So the obvious first question is, how does it compare with the CDG collab t-shirt from earlier? You already know how low I rated that collab t-shirt. Well, the good news is that this one is worlds apart. The first thing you notice is how incredibly smooth this t-shirt is. By far the smoothest and softest in today's video. And that's thanks to the extra long staple Supima that originates in California. I'm not sure the weight of the fabric, but it feels thin and lightweight without feeling cheap. This actually feels like a proper luxury piece. The fit around the chest and arms is really considered. Similar to the real McCoy's tee, you can tell a lot of thought has gone into it. It's not just tight because it's small, it's a form-fitting and structured look. The collar is the same design as the CDG collab tee, but thicker. However, still slightly too skinny for my personal taste. The length is again very long, so this t-shirt would have to be tucked in at all times for me, and that actually wouldn't be an issue due to how lightweight the fabric is, so it doesn't bunch up and create bulk. Another thing I noticed about the fabric is how much of a bounce it has to it. If you stretch it, it really snaps back into place, unlike the Nanamika tee, which just felt really loose at all times. To be honest, I might have expected a few extra details at this price point. Things we saw on cheaper tees like gussets under the arms, tubular designs, additional stitching for durability, or a more sturdy collar. Not all of these of course, but perhaps just something to level it up a bit. Overall though, I can't deny how luxurious it feels and how well it fits. So comparing all of these t-shirts has made me realise a few things. It makes me really appreciate a well-fitting and well-made collar. If it's just a tiny bit too thin or loose, it can really throw off the whole look. I've also noticed that weight and thickness doesn't always mean quality. With that in mind, my favourite t-shirt in this video by far is the real McCoy's t-shirt. In fact, it might be one of my favourite t-shirts ever. It just fit perfectly straight away, I could wear it tucked and untucked, and the quality was amongst the best. In close second is the Mersby 215. It's pretty much at the same level as the real McCoy's tee in every respect, except the collar, which is a little bit too loose for me. At the other end of a scale, my least favourite are the Nanamika and the CDG Sunspell collab tee. The Nanamika feels like it just doesn't know what it wants to be, and the fit and fabric suffer because of this. Plus, it's super expensive. The CDG Sunspell collab tee feels like they're trying to use their brand names to sell a cheap and nasty t-shirt for a lot more than it's worth. All the other t-shirts are perfectly fine. If you're on a budget, then I'd happily go for the Uniqlo one. If you've got a bit more to spend and want to take a step up in quality, then I'd be looking at those 2-pack Velvet Sheen t-shirts. By the way, all of my comments are not a reflection on the brands themselves. Each of these brands does loads of variations of t-shirts and each one's going to be very different. As I said, this is just a narrow cross-section. But hopefully this video was somewhat helpful and insightful. As always, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time. Sarah.